Was it easy to find this place?
Yes, I mean I had my phone, so
Okay.
I just walked.
Yeah.
So Hare Krishna, welcome to the live stream. No one is here yet, but we're going to be celebrating Lord Narasingha Dev's appearance day today. So for those of you who come after I turn the camera to the altar, welcome, and Hare Krishna, Bhaktivedanta Prabhu, nice to see you. Are you doing nicely on Narasingha Dev's appearance day today? Let me know. We're going to have a kirtan, and then Prabhu will read from Srimad Bhagavatam. There'll be a class like that. You can ask your questions. Hare Krishna, Ellen, Victoria, very nice. James Gallagher, Haribol, nice to see you here, Prabhu. Davo, Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Okay.
Ellen.
I welcomed Ellen.
Okay.
Krishna, also Gangamani, very nice. The usual suspects. Okay, wonderful. Please share Prabhu's messages. Tag your friends as per usual. Put it on your story, your timeline, and let's get it spread. Let's get at least 30 viewers for Lord Narasingha Dev.
Yeah.
Okay. And who else just arrived? Oh, okay. Okay, very nice. Thank you so much. Let me know how you're doing. How is your Narasingha Caturdasi so far? Were you able to maintain the fast? Are you fasting? What did you offer, Lord Narasingha Dev? Bill Boyle, Hare Krishna. Welcome to the live stream, Bill. What brought you? I think this is the first time I've seen you here. So very nice. Did you find out about us through one of the devotees? Thank you so much. Okay, so we're gonna have a kirtan now, and then we'll read afterwards. All right, Hare Krishna. We do kirtan, and I'll put the camera over here.
Yeah.
Okay. And our selfie stick broke, so we are now to use this paracetamol box. Well, yes, exactly.
Why don't you introduce?
Yeah, I was just about to do. We also have a guest here. You mind the camera being on you, or?
No, they're right.
Okay. So we have a guest here today, Jyoti Mataji. She came to the temple to celebrate Lord Narasingha Dev's appearance with us. So thank you very much for coming. Hare Krishna, Melanie. When will you come and visit us, Melanie? Haribol. Yadav. Hare Krishna. You offered flowers from the neighbor's garden, Ellen. Oh, very bad. That's a secret. Okay. 11 people watching, lovely. Thank you for tagging Davo Prabhu. It's very nice of you. Okay, you invited me to Krishna.
Okay. That's our landlord. he's quite a nice guy.
Those roses, are they in the morning?
Yeah.
So I should remove them now.
Well, they're still fresh. It's okay.
Okay. What's the bell there?
Yeah.
Shri Panchatapa ki jai,
Jai.
Shri Narasingha Dev Bhagavan ki
Jai.
jai, Srila Prabhupada ki
Jai.
Nitai Gaur Premanande
Hare Bol. So we're gonna do Puratic.
Or we can just do Hare Krishna Kirtan.
Okay.
I don't know if it's up to you.
Do you know the different mantras?
No.
Like the Prabhupada's Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Krishnaya.
I know Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, that's the most important.
That's
Yeah, there are a few introductory mantras, so if you don't mind, we're just gonna chant and then you can join us doing the
I'll
Hare
join you.
Krishna.
I'll copy you what
Okay, alright.
Sora mea, tu nu trebuie să faci fac decât un singur lucru. S-a ajuns pe avocata mea, mă auzi? Un singur lucru trebuie să fac. S-a ajuns pe avocata mea ca să facă...
Close the window, okay?
Ajută-o pe Mihaela. Ajută-o pe Mihaela să facă lucrurile așa cum vrei tu. Mă înțelegi? Așa e cel mai. Îi trebuie certificatul de deșert. Nu că avea o șecă
Devajayo, sorry. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine
Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine
Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunavadi Paschacharya Shitarine
Namaste Saraswati Deve
Prabhupada
Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunnavadi Paschacharya Shitarine
Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Girana Srivasari Gaura Bhaktivinoda
Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasari Gaura Bhaktivedanta
Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu
Yeah.
Hare
Saparivrajacharya Astu Karasadashi Shimad Divine Grace Laisi Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajacharya Astu Karasadashi Shimad His Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Kodi Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Brahmacharya Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Mathura Dham Ki Jai Navadi Dham Ki Jai Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai Ganga Mai Ki Jai Yamuna Mai Ki Jai Tulsi Ki Jai Bhakti Ki Jai Harinam Sankirtan Yagi Ki Jai Grantara Chimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai Samaveta Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai Vithai Gaura Premanandi Hari 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 Bol. All glories to the Assembled Devotees Hare Krishna. All glories to the Assembled Devotees Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Glories to Srila Prabhupada. Namo Om Vishnupadaya. Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale. Srimati Bhaktivedanta Lives. Namaste Saraswati.
Hari Bol.
So, Guru,
Yeah.
what is the schedule now? What do we have on the program?
We chant the initiative.
Yeah? Okay.
So there's a special song for Narasingha Dev.
Is it written anywhere that I can give to her? I can just use my computer.
Yeah.
So I from online.
Yeah, I'm going to put it here.
Hare Krishna Prabhus, are you there? Are you still in the material world? Seema Mataji says, that was 40 minutes of pure bliss.
Jay. So,
Okay.
this is easy enough to read. Maybe let me put it here.
Oh,
And you can scroll down when you go. So we do this one, and this one, and then this one also. We do this last line. It's a little bit more complicated Sanskrit, but I think you'll get it.
Namaste Narasimhaya.
Namaste Narasingha.
Prahlad Lada Daine. Hiranyakashi Purvakshaha. Shilatangana Galaye. Viduna Singha Paratuna Singha. Yatoya Toya Mitatona Singha. Payena Singha Hridayena Singha. Nashimara Dim Sharanam Napade. Avakaratam Navare Natam Abhuta Singham Dalitai Anyakashipur Tanubringam Keshavarita Narahari Rupa Jaya Jagarisha Hare Jaya Jagarisha Hare Jaya Jagarisha Hare. Jai Narasingha Dev. Bhakta Prahlad, Bhakta Prahlad, Bhakta Prahlad, Bhakta Prahlad. Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Narasingha Bhagavan ki, Bhakta Prahlad Maharaj ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Nidai Gaura Premanandi, Hari 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 Bol. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutri Shrimad Bhaktivedanta Lives Namaste Namaste Saraswati Guru Varma Chari Jai Radha Madhava. Okay. You can find for Jyoti. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jayam Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanashari Yamuna Tira Vanashari Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Asura Nandana Raja Jana Nandana Asura Nandana Raja Jana Nandana Ramona Tira Manachari Ramona Tira Manachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jayom Vishnupat Paramahamsa Parivrajikacharya Asutarasita Shishimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai Jayom Vishnupat Paramahamsa Parivrajikacharya Asutarasita Shishimad His Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Kuri Vaishnavan Ki Jai Namacharya Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Pramsako Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhaktavinda Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhana Ki Jai Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Mathura Dham Ki Jai Navari Dham Ki Jai Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai Ganga Mai Ki Jai Yamuna Mai Ki Jai Turustev Ki Jai Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Harinam Sankirtan Yagya Ki Jai Grandaraj Shrimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai Samaveta Bhaktavinda Ki Jai Nitai Gaura Premanandi Hari 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 Bol All glories to the assembled devotees Hare Krishna All glories to the assembled devotees Hare Krishna All glories to the assembled and Facebook devotees Hare Krishna All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga All glories to Srila Prabhupada Hare Krishna. So, Hare Krishna Prabhus, are you still there? Please write Hare Krishna, whoever is there, so I can see. And we shall read now from the Srimad Bhagavatam about the pastimes of Lord Narasingha Dev. Of course, it's quite a long pastime, many chapters. It begins with, actually begins with Hiranyaksha. There were two brothers, Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu. So Hiranyaksha was killed by Lord Varaha. And his brother Hiranyakashipu was very envious of Vishnu, of Krishna. So when his son Prahlad Maharaj, when it was obvious that Prahlad Maharaj is a devotee of Vishnu, then you can only imagine how agitated Hiranyakashipu was. So there are many things we can learn from this Leela, and pretty much most of the seventh canto of the Bhagavatam deals with the Narasingha Dev Leela. So there's a few chapters to choose from. And there is Hiranyakashipu, king of the demons. Hiranyakashipu's plan to become immortal. Hiranyakashipu terrorizes the universe. Prahlad Maharaj, the saintly son of Hiranyakashipu, Prahlad instructs his demoniac schoolmates. What Prahlad learned in the womb, Lord Narasingha slays the king of the demons. Prahlad pacifies Lord Narasingha with prayers. And then Prahlad, the best among his exalted devotees. This is after Hiranyakashipu was killed. Prahlad Maharaj, he ruled over the world. So it has quite a big build-up, this appearance of Lord Narasingha. So let's see. There's only so much we can cover today. Okay, so let's try to read this chapter. Lord Narasingha slays the king of the demons. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Dabur is asking, no Namaste Narasingha? So Nay says, we already did. I think you were in trance. Okay, so let's read. Okay, devotees are saying, let's read all. Let's read until midnight. Okay. Lord Narasingha slays the king of the demons. Translation and purports by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Yay! As described in this chapter, Hiranyakashipu was ready to kill his own son, Prahlad Maharaj. But the Supreme Personality of Godhead appeared in front of the demon as Shri Nirkeshari. That's another name of Lord Narasingha, half lion and half man, and killed him. Following the instructions of Prahlad Maharaj, all the sons of the demons became attached to Lord Vishnu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. When this attachment became pronounced, their teachers, Shande and Amarka, were very much afraid that the boys would become more and more devoted to the Lord. In a helpless condition, they approached Hiranyakashipu and described in detail the effect of Prahlad's preaching. After hearing of this, Hiranyakashipu decided to kill his son Prahlad. Hiranyakashipu was so angry that Prahlad Maharaj fell down at his feet and said many things just to pacify him, but he was unsuccessful in satisfying his demonic father. Hiranyakashipu, as a typical demon, began to advertise himself as being greater than the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But Prahlad Maharaj challenged him, saying that Hiranyakashipu was not God, and began to glorify the Supreme Personality of Godhead, declaring that the Lord is all-pervading and everything is under Him, and that no one is equal to or greater than Him. Thus he requested his father to be submissive to the omnipotent Supreme Lord. The more Prahlad Maharaj glorified the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the more angry and agitated the demon became. Hiranyakashipu asked his Vaishnava son whether his God existed within the columns of the palace. And Prahlad Maharaj immediately accepted that since the Lord is present everywhere, He was also present within the columns. When Hiranyakashipu heard this philosophy from his young son, he derided the boy's statement as just the talk of a child and forcefully struck the pillar with his fist. As soon as Hiranyakashipu struck the column, there issued forth a tumultuous sound. At first, Hiranyakashipu, the king of the demons, could not see anything but the pillar. But to substantiate Prahlad's statements, the Lord came out of the pillar in his wonderful incarnation as Narasingha, half lion and half man. Hiranyakashipu could immediately understand that the extraordinarily wonderful form of the Lord was surely meant for his death, and thus he prepared to fight with the form of half lion and half man. Hare Krishna Anu Rajput. Haribo Mataji. The Lord performed his pastimes by fighting with the demon for some time, and in the evening, on the border between day and night, the Lord captured the demon, threw him on his lap, and killed him by piercing his abdomen with his nails. The Lord not only killed Hiranyakashipu, the king of the demons, but also killed many of his followers. When there was no one else to fight, the Lord, roaring with anger, sat down on Hiranyakashipu's throne. The entire universe was thus relieved of the rule of Hiranyakashipu, and everyone was jubilant in transcendental bliss. Then all the demigods, headed by Lord Brahma, approached the Lord. These included the great saintly persons, the Pithas, the Siddhas, the Vidyadharas, the Nagas, the Manus, the Prajapatis, the Gandharvas, the Charanas, the Yakshas, the Kimpurushas, the Vaitalikas, the Kinnaras, and also many other varieties of beings in human form. All of them stood not far from the Supreme Personality of Godhead and began offering their prayers unto the Lord, whose spiritual effulgence was brilliant as he sat on the throne. Shri Narada Vacha Ata Daitya Sutta Sarve Shutva Tadanuvarnitam Jagrur Niravadyatvan Naiva Guru Anushikshitam. Narada Muni continues, all the sons of the demons appreciated the transcendental instruction of Prahlad Maharaj and took them very seriously. They rejected the materialistic instructions given by their teachers, Shanda and Amarka. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. This is the effect of the preaching of a pure devotee like Prahlad Maharaj. If a devotee is qualified, sincere and serious about Krishna consciousness, and if he follows the instructions of a bona fide spiritual master, as Prahlad Maharaj did when preaching the instructions he had received from Narada Muni, his preaching is effective. As it is said in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Satam prasangan mama virya samvido bhavanti hitkarna rasayanaha katha. If one tries to understand the discourses given by the sat or pure devotees, those instructions will be very pleasing to the ear and appealing to the heart. Thus, if one is inspired to take to Krishna consciousness, and if one practices the process in his life, he is surely successful in returning home back to Godhead. By the grace of Prahlad Maharaj, all his class friends, the sons of the demons, became Vaishnavas. They did not like hearing from their so-called teachers, Shanda and Amarka, who were interested only in teaching them about diplomacy, politics, economic development, and similar topics meant exclusively for sense gratification. Next verse. Ata chariya sutastesham burimekanta samstitam alakshya bitastvartito ragya avedayat. When Shanda and Amarka, the sons of Shukracharya, observed that all the students, the sons of the demons, were becoming advanced in Krishna consciousness because of the association of Prahlad Maharaj, they were afraid. They approached the king of the demons and described the situation as it was. Purport. The words Buddhimekanta Samsitam indicate that as an effect of Prahlad Maharaj's preaching, the students who listened to him became fixed in the conclusion that Krishna consciousness is the only object of human life. The fact is that anyone who associates with a pure devotee and follows his instructions becomes fixed in Krishna consciousness and is not disturbed by materialistic consciousness. The teachers particularly observed this in their students, and therefore they were afraid because the whole community of students was gradually becoming Krishna conscious. Hare Krishna, Soni Durgesh. So Prahlad Maharaj was preaching, and the sons of the demons, they were all sons of demons, they were becoming enchanted. Oh, what is this Krishna consciousness? Oh, this is very attractive. So the teachers were panicking. Oh my God, Krishna consciousness is spreading in the classroom. What do we do? So they went to Hiranyakashipu. Ko pavisha chaladgatraha putram hantu manodade kshiptva parushaya vacha praharadamatad arhanam ahikshamanaha papina tirashchinena chakshusha prasharayabanatam dantam badanjalim avastitam sarpa padahata iva shvasan prakriti darunaha. When Hiranyakashipu understood the entire situation, he was extremely angry, so much so that his body trembled. Thus he finally decided to kill his son, Prahlad. Hiranyakashipu was by nature very cruel, and feeling insulted, he began hissing like a snake trampled upon by someone's foot. His son Prahlad was peaceful, mild, and gentle. His senses were under control, and he stood before Hiranyakashipu with folded hands. According to Prahlad's age and behavior, he was not to be chastised. Yet with staring crooked eyes, Hiranyakashipu rebuked him with the following harsh words. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. When one is impudent toward a highly authorized devotee, one is punished by the laws of nature. The duration of his life is diminished, and he loses the blessings of superior persons and the results of pious activities. Hiranyakashipu, for example, had achieved such great power in the material world that he could subdue practically all the planetary systems in the universe, including the heavenly planets, Svargaloka. Hare Krishna, PJ Prabhu. Yet now, because of his mistreatment of such a Vaishnava as Prahlad Maharaj, all the results of his tapasya diminished. As stated in Srimad Bhagavatam, Ayushriyam yasudharmam lokanashisha evacha hanti shriyamsi sarvani pumsha mahat atikramaha. When one mistreats great souls, his lifespan, opulence, reputation, religion, possession, and good fortune are all destroyed. Shri Hiranyakashipuruvacha He Durvinita Mandataman Kulabheda Kardama Stabdamach Chasano Devitam Nishitvadya Yamakshayam. Hiranyakashipu said, O most impudent, most unintelligent disruptor of the family, O lowest of the mankind, you have violated my power to rule you, and therefore you are an obstinate fool. Today I shall send you to the place of Yamaraj. So this is how he was talking to his son. Very, very demoniac. Purport. Hiranyakashipu condemned his Vaishnava son, Prahlad, for being durvinita, ungentle, uncivilized, or impudent. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, however, has derived a meaning from this word, durvinita, by the mercy of the goddess of learning, Saraswati. He says that du refers to this material world. This is confirmed by Lord Krishna in his instruction in Bhagavad Gita, that this material world is dukhalayam, full of material conditions. V means vishesha, specifically, and nita means brought in. By the mercy of the Supreme Lord, Prahlad Maharaj was especially brought to this material world to teach people how to get out of the material condition. Lord Krishna says, Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata. When the entire population or part of it becomes forgetful of its own duty, Krishna comes. When Krishna is not present, the devotee is present. But the mission is the same, to free the poor conditioned souls from the clutches of the Maya that chastises them. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur further explains that the word mandatman means manda, very bad or very slow in spiritual realization. As stated in Srimad Bhagavatam, Manda Sumanda Matayo Manda Bhagya. Prahlad Maharaj is the guide of all the mandas or bad living entities who are under the influence of Maya. He is the benefactor even of the slow and bad living entities in this material world. Kula Bheda Karadma. By his actions, Prahlad Maharaj made great personalities who established big families seem insignificant. Everyone is interested in his own family and in making his dynasty famous. But Prahlad Maharaj was so liberal that he made no distinction between one living entity and another. Therefore, he was greater than the great Prajapatis who established their dynasties. The word stabdam means obstinate. A devotee does not care for the instructions of the Asuras. Hare Krishna, Elizabeth, Hari Bol. When they give instructions, he remains silent. A devotee cares about the instructions of Krishna, not those of demons or non-devotees. He does not give any respect to a demon, even though the demon be his father. Mat shashana dvitam. Prahlad Maharaj was disobedient to the orders of his demonic father, Hare Krishna, Lora, Svetina, Yamakshayam. Every conditioned soul is under the control of Yamaraj. But Hiranyakashipu said that he considered Prahlad Maharaj his deliverer, for Prahlad would stop Hiranyakashipu's repetition of birth and death. Because Prahlad Maharaj, being a great devotee, was better than any yogi, Hiranyakashipu was to be brought among the society of bhakti yogis. Thus, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has explained these words in a very interesting way, as they can be interpreted from the side of Saraswati, the mother of learning. Krudasya yasya kampanti trayuloka shahishvaraha tasya me bhitavan mudha shasanam kim balotyagaha. My son Prahlad, you rascal, you know that when I am angry, all the planets of the three worlds tremble, along with their chief rulers. By whose power has a rascal like you become so impudent that you appear fearless and overstep my power to rule you? Purport. The relationship between a pure devotee and the Supreme Personality of Godhead is extremely relishable. A devotee never claims to be very powerful himself. Instead, he fully surrenders to the lotus feet of Krishna, being confident that in all dangerous conditions, Krishna will protect his devotee. Krishna himself says in Bhagavad Gita, Kaunteya pratijanihi name bhakta pranashyati. O son of Kunti, declare boldly that my devotee never perishes. The Lord requested Arjuna to declare this instead of declaring it himself, because sometimes Krishna changes his view and therefore people might not believe him. Thus Krishna asked Arjuna to declare that the devotee of the Lord is never vanquished. Hiranyakashipu was perplexed about how his 5-year-old boy could be so fearless that he did not care for the order of his very great and powerful father. A devotee cannot execute the order of anyone except the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is the position of a devotee. Hiranyakashipu could understand that this boy must have been very powerful, since the boy did not heed his orders. Hiranyakashipu asked his son, Kim Balaha, how have you overcome my order? By whose strength have you done this? Shri Prahlada Uvacham na kevalam me bhavatascha rajan savai balam balinam chaparisham parivarimi stirajangamaye brahmadayo yenam vasham pranitam. Prahlad Maharaj said, my dear king, the source of my strength of which you are asking is also the source of yours. Indeed, the original source of all kinds of strength is one. He is not only your strength or mine, but the only strength for everyone. Without him, no one can get any strength. Whether moving or not moving, superior or inferior, everyone, including Lord Brahma, is controlled by the strength of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Purport. Lord Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Yad yad vibhutimat sattvam shrimad urchitam eva va tat tat eva bhagacham tvam mamatijam sha sambhavam. Know that all beautiful, glorious and mighty creations spring but a spark of my splendor. This is confirmed by Prahlad Maharaj. If one sees extraordinary strength or power anywhere, it is derived from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. To give an example, there are different grades of fire, but all of them derive heat and light from the sun. Similarly, all living entities, big or small, are dependent on the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One's only duty is to surrender, for one is a servant and cannot independently attain the position of master. One can attain the position of master only by the mercy of the master, not independently. And as one understands this philosophy, he is still a mudha. In other words, he is not very intelligent. The mudhas, the asses who do not have this intelligence, cannot surrender unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Understanding the subordinate position of the living entity takes millions of births. But when one is actually wise, he surrenders unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Lord says in Bhagavad Gita, Bhaunam janmana mante jnanam mam prapadyanti vasudeva sarvamiti samahatma sudurlabha. After many births and deaths, he who is actually in knowledge surrenders unto me, knowing me to be the cause of all causes and all that is. Such a great soul is very rare. Prahlad Maharaj was a great soul, a Mahatma, and therefore he completely surrendered unto the lotus feet of the Lord. He was confident that Krishna would give him protection under all circumstances. Okay, so let us discuss a little bit on the topics of Lord Narasingha Dev. Om Agyantirinandasya Gyanajana Shalakyam Chakshunanmiritam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, and my spiritual master, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Prabhupada, has opened my darkened eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my humble obeisances unto His lotus feet. Jai Shri Prabhupada. So, today is the appearance of Lord Narasingha Dev. Someone might ask, what is the purpose of this celebration? Why do we gather here? Why do we read these pastimes? Why do we have to meditate on this? So Krishna explains in the Bhagavad Gita that this world is dukalayam ashvashvatam. It is full of misery, and it is temporary, including our body is temporary. Our relationships are temporary. We establish some relationship, we have a family, and so on, so on. And all these relationships with our family members are ultimately cut off. So this is not where we're supposed to be. Just like if someone is put in a prison house, it is not his natural place to be. So this material world is like a prison house for all the conditioned souls who are trying to compete with Krishna for supremacy. You know, we're here because we have this misconception. We're thinking that we're the controllers.
We try to control everything, and we want to enjoy. When our enjoyment, our sense gratification is impeded, we become agitated. Oh, why he did this? Oh, why she did that? Why this didn't work out in the material world, right? We become angry and agitated and disturbed. So this is because we think, oh, I am the controller. I am God. The idea of God, of course, that must be studied scientifically. People usually, when they approach God, they think God is my order supplier. I go to a church, I go to a mosque, I go to a temple, and I do some rituals, on and on and on and on, like that, very mechanically. And because I've done some service for God, I praise God, God must fulfill my desire, my material desire. I want a nice car, I want my family to be safe, I don't want them to catch COVID. Okay, God, so I praised you, you better fulfill my desire. And if God does not fulfill that desire, one becomes an atheist. Actually, an atheist is a person who doesn't understand that God is not our order supplier. That's pretty much it. Otherwise, this propensity to surrender or to submit to someone is an intrinsic nature of every living entity. We all want to surrender. Just like in a loving relationship, young girl, young boy, they get together. The expression of their love is that they want to become inferior to the other person, right? That is the beautiful about love. Oh, you are my master. You tell me whatever, I will fulfill all your desire. And the girl also, oh, you are my beloved. Whatever you tell me, I will fulfill all your desires. See, this is actually what makes the living entity happy. The living entity is not happy by controlling. You know, you can see all these big politicians and Bill Gates or whatever. They have all the power, but they're not happy. I heard that Bill Gates is getting divorced, right? So, you know, the more control you have, the more responsibility you have. The more you have to tax your brain, how to control, how to do this. This is not what makes us happy. See, we have a, perverted or misguided conception of happiness. We think I become happy by controlling, by enjoying. But actually, what makes us happy is to surrender and to serve. We like to serve. We like to do service. So this service in the material world is frustrated, right? I serve my family. I serve my girlfriend. You know, we get together, we get married, and then the relationship becomes more stale and boring, and you know, she starts calling me bad names and lording it over, telling me I need this, I need new furniture and this and that. And the man also, he is no longer praising the girl. He doesn't praise her beauty so much, and so on, so on. So we become frustrated with the service. We say, I have served so much, and I'm not getting any pleasure, and people are disrespecting me, and I'm simply serving, I get nothing in return. So out of frustration, we conclude that service is not good. Service is not good. And that's why also when we explain this process of devotional service, Krishna consciousness is a process of how to revive our devotional service to Krishna. It is not simply that we have belief in God, we believe in Krishna, we have faith. No, we engage practically in a service. Just like this chanting, this is devotional service. Hearing also. Right now, we're performing devotional service. We're hearing about Krishna. We're trying to understand, tax our intelligence. What is Krishna? Who is Krishna? Who is Lord Narasingha Dev? And Prabhu is also rendering some service in the kitchen, making nice preparation for Lord Narasingha Dev. Our friends on Facebook, they tagging their friends, please come see this live stream, nice, come and get some enlightenment from Purujit. So this is all devotional service. And when we approach people with this idea of devotional service, because they have a bitter experience in the material world, they think, oh, this is not good. They're serving and they're getting nothing in return. They're just serving some imaginary Krishna, imaginary God. Oh, so this must be a brainwash, right? This must be these are some foolish people, like that. So, we must approach this concept of service scientifically. Srila Prabhupada, many times, he explains that this movement, this Krishna consciousness movement, is not a religion or a faith. Just like the other, I have my religion is such and such, your religion is such and such, and your religion is different than mine, or let's fight. It is not like that. Krishna consciousness movement is trying to educate people scientifically about this original nature, about their original nature as devotees of Krishna. And in these scriptures, Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, God is explained on the basis of argument and logic. You see, it is not blind sentiment. Of course, little sentiment we must have. Just like when we were chanting this kirtan, right? You feel, blissful for Krishna. So that is there, definitely, always bliss is there. But we must also understand scientifically how to preserve that bliss and how to expand or increase that bliss. How to advance this bliss of Krishna consciousness can increase by this process that we receive from the spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada, to such an extent that we lose any sort of consideration for bodily pains or pleasures. We become free from the bodily conception of life. Right? You have studied the Bhagavad Gita, so you know the first instruction of Krishna is that we're not this body. And this is not a belief. It is a fact. Right? In the second chapter, Krishna says, Dehinosmin yatadihi kaumanam yuvanam jara tata dehantara prapti dhirastatra namuhyati. Are you familiar with this shloka?
I may know that.
The translation. Okay, that's okay. As the embodied soul passes from childhood to youth to old age, similarly, he will pass at the time of death into another body. The self-realized soul or the sober person is not bewildered by such a change. So this is a profound shloka because it explains the existence of the soul on the basis of logic and argument. In the past, you had a body of a girl, right? Little Jyoti. You're playing with dolls and so on and so on. You remember, that was you. But what is that body? That tiny little body is gone, all replaced. All the cells have been replaced. You have a completely different form. The form that you have now and the body you had as a small girl have nothing in common. They're not connected at all. But because you are the spirit soul, in that body, there's a continuity, right? So Krishna is giving a very nice logical argument for the existence of the soul and the existence of the afterlife. Because we as consciousness or as the identity, we have a certain identity, we're not finished with or replaced with the childhood body. From that we can understand that we're not the body. That the self, the I, is separate from the physical body. If the I and the body were one and the same, then you'll be gone with the childhood body. The childhood body is gone, is no longer here, it cannot be brought back. But are you gone? You're still here. So that is the proof that there is something beyond the body, that the self, you, are beyond the body. And you're not affected by the bodily changes. So if we can understand, if we can perceive, not believe, but perceive that my identity is preserved, even the body is changing. Actually, every day the body is changing, going through the changes. Why would this principle change at death? It doesn't make any logical sense that it would stop at that point. That at the time of death, then the self would all of a sudden disappear with the body. It doesn't make any sense. The logical conclusion is that after the old body is finished, we'll take on another body. What type of body? Okay, that is another discussion. But the consciousness must be there.
So why do we have to change the body?
Yeah.
Why can't we just stay in the same body forever?
Yes. Well, I was explaining before that we have this body as the symbol of our rebellion against Krishna. Because we want to enjoy, we want to control, Krishna is giving us the facility, limited facility to exercise that propensity to control, to be the controller. And because it is logically impossible to be God, right? For the tiny little part and parcel to be God. God is eternal. We cannot become God at any point. Therefore, that situation of us having this propensity or opportunity to control is temporary. That's why we have the temporary body. It's changing. For the time being, you can exercise, you can control, you can have your little kingdom, your home, your relationships like that. You might be thinking, I am the center of the universe. But then the body has to change. You see? That is, it's kind of like a fulfillment of our desire. Krishna fulfills our desire, and at the same time it is a punishment. Right? So this Hiranyakashipu is the example of how the conditioned soul can become so illusioned that he's thinking that he's God. Actually, Hiranyakashipu was a yogi. He was performing yoga, but for the wrong reason. He was trying to exercise yoga to attain mystic powers. That is possible. If you follow a certain practice of yoga, if you're familiar, you can attain mystic powers. You know, wonderful powers that are beyond the understanding of, let's say, the modern scientists. That is possible. Austerity has tremendous value. If you even in the material world, let's say Mr. Bill Gates, he had to perform some austerity in order to start his Microsoft company. He had to go through so many plans and managerial issues and so on. It's not a joke exactly to manage a worldwide corporation like that with so many millions, billions of dollars. So even in the material world, if one wants to be successful, he has to perform some austerity. The yogis would practice certain austerity like that, various austerities. This Hiranyakashipu, he was standing on one foot for a long time, for thousands of years. to the extent that the ants would eat the flesh of his body. You familiar with the Leela a little bit? Okay. So, this gave him tremendous power. But he used this power for nonsense purposes, to control the material world, to have this idea, oh, I am the controller, I control. He attained so much mystic power that he was able to control the vegetation, the growth of vegetation, the seasonal changes. This was possible by the cities. So then it is mentioned that although he had control over everything, still he was unsatisfied. A person who cannot control his senses, he must be always unhappy. The senses are just like, imagine a fire, and you try to put down the fire. So you're throwing oil. The fire simply increases. So the more we gratify the senses, the more lusty and greedy we become. You know, another example is you have an itch, and you try to scratch the itch, it itches even more. You see, so it is intelligent to refrain from sense gratification. Let me tolerate, okay, it's nice and this and that, but it is dragging me into this temporary material samsara. Let me renounce this. And we do not have to finish our enjoyment, but we enjoy through Krishna. This is very nice. In Bhakti Yoga, Krishna consciousness is also a yoga process, but it's a very nice process because we experience a higher pleasure. We have kirtan. We don't say don't sing. Sing, but sing for Krishna. We don't say don't see beautiful girls and boys, but see the beautiful girls and boys in Krishna, in Krishna Lila. Krishna is, of course, Radharani, like that. The propensity to see something beautiful is spiritual, but it is misguided. Similarly, you want to eat nice palatable foodstuffs. Very good. Take Krishna Prasada. So in this way, we're not stopping enjoyment, but we're purifying the enjoyment. Yes, yes. So, Krishna appears in this world in various forms, in various pastimes, to attract us to that original spiritual world where we are coming from, that world. And he's also he's also teaching us through these different leelas. He's teaching us our own nature, what is wrong with us, and how we can improve it. This Hiranyakashipu is a wonderful example of, as I said, of a conditioned soul who's trying to lord it over and trying to control and enjoy sense gratification. And he is envious of the devotees. He's trying to kill the devotees and create obstacles for the devotees. And simultaneously, Prahlad Maharaj is the example of what we should do. He is the positive example. And, by arranging these different pastimes, we get to learn, what not to do, what to do, and so on and so on. Also, we can learn about the nature of the Lords. Krishna comes as Lord Narasingha to show us his nature. You see, this is very important. In Krishna consciousness, in the Vedic scriptures, we get a very concrete idea who God is. The aim of religion is to love God. If you ask any Christian or a Muslim, if you ask him, is the aim of your religion to love God? No one will say that, oh, no, that's not the purpose of it. Everyone will say, yes, the aim is to love God. But in order to love him, we must know who he is. We must know his form. We must know his name. We must know about his activities, what he's doing. Otherwise, if I say God, it's very vague, very vague idea. How can I love something that I have no idea about? Even in the material world, let's say you know, we want to love some boy or a girl, if we just have a preliminary idea, there is a girl, there is a boy, how can we love on that basis? We fall in love because we become enchanted by the personality, right? By the personality, how that personality interacts in various situations, how the personality look like, how he's dressed, what his taste, right? We are attracted. Oh, I like his taste. He's very I like this. Or I like her taste. I like how she's dressed. Oh, that is the expression of one's individuality. So God must be a person also. He must be an individual. He must have his activities. He must have his pastimes. He must have his associates, everything. So Krishna actually comes into this world, just like it is mentioned in that shloka, Yada yada hi dharmasya glani bhavati bharata, to show. You don't need to speculate, right? It's very difficult to conceive of God. Like, how can we know this? We're so limited. Our brain power is so limited. How can we speculate about God? So God comes and he says, no need to speculate. Here I am. This is who I am. Check this out. This is what I do. I do pastimes like this. This is my nature. I interact with the devotees like that. And especially in his original form as Krishna, he descends and he speaks the Bhagavad Gita. The Bhagavad Gita is the direct instruction of God, or direct explanation of God about his own nature. Just like if I want to know you, I can ask a friend of your friends who you are. You know, what is Jyoti like? What does she like? What kind of food she likes? What kind of color she likes? I can ask. And I can get some information. But if you yourself come and you tell me, I like this, I like that, so on, so on, so on, then this is perfect knowledge. So Bhagavad Gita is a very unique scripture because it is not a scripture about God. It is scripture by God. Krishna explains, this is who I am. That's why it is the most authoritative. Out of all scriptures in the world, Bhagavad Gita is the most authoritative in terms of understanding God. It is not that the others are not authorized, but everything you can understand from the other scriptures can be found in the Bhagavad Gita. So if you read the Bhagavad Gita, there is no need to read any other book. Everything is included. Just like, for example, if you go to grammar school, you learn 2 + 2 is 4. So this is true in a grammar school, but this is also true at the university in a math class. You know this analogy? You have heard this analogy before? Yeah, okay. So in the same way, if you understand Krishna from the Bhagavad Gita, all the ideas that are present in the Bible, in the Quran, and so on, are automatically included. Yeah. You know? We have the complete information. There is no idea about what is the form of God in the Bible, in the Quran, any other scripture. There is no information about his activities. There is no information about his potencies, how he creates this material world. What is his transcendental nature? This is unknown. So Bhagavad Gita is the information that the world is lacking. And on account of lacking this knowledge, people are giving up God consciousness. You see, so these various celebrations of the Lord's appearance in this world is an opportunity how we can deepen our understanding of Krishna, the philosophy of Krishna, so we can explain it to the others, to those who don't have any inclination. You know, people that have no inclination because they're stuck in this wrong conception of life. The aim of life is to simply enjoy, and then you die, and what happens after? Well, we don't care. some whatever. So they're wrongly directed. So in order to convince them, we have to know the science, and we have to be very expert in presenting the science to them. So it's a good opportunity to learn, and of course it becomes very nice when we associate with the other devotees. We can get different angles of vision like that. So we highly recommend to associate with Srila Prabhupada through his books. It is not that Srila Prabhupada is gone. He is present with us in his books. If you read his books, you're getting a direct guidance of a bona fide spiritual master. And if we associate with devotees, Srila Prabhupada's devotees, we can deepen our relationship with Srila Prabhupada. This is sort of the purpose of our place here also. So, right, you want to ask any question?
No, I'm just enjoying listening.
Okay, all right. So, can we go on? Can we read a little bit more?
Sure.
Are you gonna manage? It's a little too much.
No,
It requires a little patience.
yeah. No, it's absolutely fine.
Okay, all right.
I really enjoy it.
Wonderful. Sa Ishvara Kala Urukramosav Ojaha Saha Sattva Balendriyatma Saiva Vishwam Parama Sva Shaktibi Sajati Avatiyati Gunatrayeshaham. Translation. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the Supreme Controller and Time Factor, is the power of the senses, the power of the mind, the power of the body, and the vital force of the senses. His influence is unlimited. He is the best of all living entities, the controller of the three modes of material nature. By his own power, he creates this cosmic manifestation, maintains it, and annihilates it also. Purport. Since the material world is being moved by the three modes of material nature, and since the Lord is their master, the Lord can create, maintain, and destroy the material world. Jahi asuram bhavam imam tvam atmanaha samam mano dastva nasanti vidvishaha rate jitat atmana utpate stitat tadhihi anantasya mahat samarhanam. Prahlad Maharaj continued, My dear father, please give up your demonic mentality. Do not discriminate in your heart between enemies and friends. Make your mind equipoised toward everyone. Except for the uncontrolled and misguided mind, there is no enemy within this world. When one sees everyone on the platform of equality, one then comes to the position of worshipping the Lord perfectly. Purport. Unless one is able to fix the mind at the lotus feet of the Lord, the mind is impossible to control. As Arjuna says in Bhagavad Gita, Chanchalam hi mana Krishna pramati balavadadam tasyaham nigraham manye vayuriva sudushkaram. For the mind is restless, turbulent, obstinate, and very strong, O Krishna. And to subdue it, it seems to me, is more difficult than controlling the winds. The only bona fide process for controlling the mind is to fix the mind by service to the Lord. We create enemies and friends according to the dictation of the mind, but actually there are no enemies and friends. Pandita samadarshinaha samasarveshu bhuteshu madbhaktim labate param. To understand this is the preliminary condition for entering into the kingdom of devotional service. Dasyun purasanna vijityalum pato manyantai ki svajita dishodasam jitatmano gyasya samasya dehinam sado svamoha prabhava kutapari. In former times, there were many fools like you who did not conquer the 6 enemies that steal away the wealth of the body. These souls were very proud, thinking, I have conquered all enemies in all the 10 directions. But if a person is victorious over the 6 enemies and is equipoised toward all living entities, for him there are no enemies. Enemies are merely imagined by one in ignorance. Purport. In this material world, everyone thinks that he has conquered his enemies, not understanding that his enemies are his uncontrolled mind and 5 senses. Manaha sastanindriyani prakritistani karshati. In this material world, everyone has become a servant of the senses. Originally, everyone is a servant of Krishna, but in ignorance, one forgets this, and thus one is engaged in the service of Maya through lusty desires, anger, greed, illusion, madness, and jealousy. Everyone is actually dependent on the reactions of material laws, but still one thinks himself independent and thinks that he has conquered all directions. In conclusion, one who thinks that he has many enemies is an ignorant man, whereas one who is in Krishna consciousness knows that there are no enemies but those within oneself, the uncontrolled mind and senses. It's very profound teaching Prahlad Maharaj is giving. Shri Hiranyakashipu Vacha Vyaktam Tvam Martukamosmi Yoti Matram Vikathase Mumurshunam Hi Mandatman Nanusayura Viklavagiraham. Hiranyakashipu replied, You rascal, you are trying to minimize my value as if you were better than me at controlling the senses. This is over-intelligent. I can therefore understand that you desire to die at my hands, for this kind of nonsensical talk is indulged in by those about to die. Purport. It is said in Hitopadesha, Upadesho hi murkhana prakopaya nashantaye. If good instructions are given to a foolish person, he does not take advantage of them, but becomes more and more angry. Prahlad Maharaj authorized instructions to his father were not accepted by Hiranyakashipu as truth. Instead, Hiranyakashipu became increasingly angry at his great son, who was a pure devotee. This kind of difficulty always exists when a devotee preaches Krishna consciousness to persons like Hiranyakashipu, who are interested in money and women. The word Hiranya means gold, and Kashipu refers to cushions or good bedding. Moreover, a father does not like to be instructed by his son, especially if the father is a demon. Prabhupada doesn't really spare anyone in his purports. Prahlad Maharaj's Vaishnava preaching to his demonic father was indirectly effective, for because of Hiranyakashipu's excessive jealousy of Krishna and his devotee, he was inviting Nrsingadeva to kill him very quickly. Thus he was expediting his being killed by the Lord himself. Although Hiranyakashipu was a demon, he is described here by the added word Shri. Why? The answer is that fortunately he had such a great devotee son as Prahlad Maharaj. Thus, although he was a demon, he would attain salvation and return home back to Godhead. The word Shri means blessed. Blessed. He was blessed. Yastvaya mandabhagyukto madanyo jagadishvaraha kvaso yadisa sarvatra kasmat stabe nadashyate. O most unfortunate Prahlad, you have always described a supreme being other than me, a supreme being who is above everything, who is the controller of everyone, and who is all-pervading. But where is he? If he is everywhere, then why is he not present before me in this pillar? Typical atheist. Show me God. Purport. Demons sometimes declare to a devotee that they cannot accept the existence of God because they cannot see him. But what the demon does not know is stated by the Lord himself in Bhagavad Gita. Naham prakasha sarvasya Yogamaya samavata. I am never manifest to the foolish and unintelligent. For them I am covered by Yogamaya. The Lord is open to being seen by devotees, but non-devotees cannot see Him. The qualification for seeing God is stated in Brahma Samhita. Premanjana churita bhakti vilochanena santa sadaiva hridayeshu vilokayanti. A devotee who has developed a genuine love for Krishna can always see Him everywhere. Whereas a demon, not having a clear understanding of the Supreme Lord, cannot see Him. When Hiranyakashipu was threatening to kill Prahlad Maharaj, Prahlad certainly saw the column standing before him and his father. And he saw that the Lord was present in the pillar to encourage him, not to fear his demonic father's words. The Lord was present to protect him. Hiranyakashipu marked Prahlad's observation and asked him, "Where is your God?" Prahlad Maharaj replied, "He is everywhere." Then Hiranyakashipu asked, "Why is he not in this pillar before me?" Thus, in all circumstances, the devotee can always see the Supreme Lord, whereas the non-devotee cannot. Prahlad Maharaj has here been addressed by his father as the most unfortunate. Hiranyakashipu thought himself extremely fortunate because he possessed the property of the universe. Prahlad Maharaj, his legitimate son, was to have inherited this vast property. But because of his impudence, he was going to die at his father's hands. Therefore, the demonic father considered Prahlad the most unfortunate because Prahlad would not be able to inherit his property. Hiranyakashipu did not know that Prahlad Maharaj was the most fortunate person within the three worlds because Prahlad was protected by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Such are the misunderstandings of demons. They do not know that a devotee is protected by the Lord in all circumstances. Kaunteya pratijani name bhakta pranashati. Okay, we have a comment by PJ Prabhu. He says, he's asking, when an Asura is killed by Krishna himself, what kind of liberation do they receive? Do they go back to Godhead or just attain Brahma Jyoti? Okay, so that is quite a difficult question. In the Krishna book, Krishna is killing different demons like Putana and so on. And Putana, for example, she becomes promoted to Vaikuntha because there are various types of liberation. There's the impersonal liberation. One becomes merged with the Brahma Jyoti, but she attained Vaikuntha. So you remember that demon who was imitating Krishna? Pondraka also, because he was immersed imitating Krishna, he attained the same form. The Swarupa, how do you call it? Sarupya Mukti. Sayujya Mukti means merging with Brahma Jyoti. Sarupya means attaining the same form as Krishna. So that was Vaikuntha. I don't know exactly the answer to this question. This is a little bit more complicated, but it is a good question, and I'm going to try to study and give you the answer later. It is not possible to come back to Godhead unless one is a devotee. So it seems that, for example, here Hiranyakashipu was actually eternal associate of Krishna. Jai and Vijay, they fell down from the spiritual world because they have offended the four Kumaras, and they agreed to become demons. You're familiar with this? Okay. So first they became Hiranyakashipu, then Ravan and Kumbhakarna, then Dantabakra and Shishupal, and then the final, they liked it so much that they wanted to come again. They actually, Krishna gave them the choice. You can either become devotees for 6 lifetimes, or you become demons. You come closer. You become fast. You become liberated faster. So they said, yeah, we want to come fast. We want to get it done and over with very fast. So there were these 3 incarnations, three sets of demons. But then they liked it so much that they asked Krishna to come again as Jagai and Madai in the Chaitanya Lila. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the last appearance of Krishna, his associate Lord Nityananda, he had a kind of a pastime with these 2 deviated or degraded brahmanas, Jagai and Madai, and they attacked Lord Nityananda. They threw a piece of earthen pot at his head, and then Lord Chaitanya wanted to kill them, but Lord Nityananda begged him not to kill them, and they became devotees. So these were also the same personalities as Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu. They appeared just 500 years ago. Yes. So yeah. So it is quite possible that these demons from Krishna Lila also had been devotees previously, and they acted this pastime as demons just to give Krishna pleasure. Maitreya Prabhu, how are you doing? How's the...
It's almost done.
Okay, wonderful. Soham vikata manasya shirakaya dharamite gopayeta haristvadya yasti sharanam ipsitam. Because you are speaking so much nonsense, I shall now sever your head from your body. Now let me see your most worshipable God come to protect you. I want to see it. Purport. Demons always think that the God of the devotees is fictitious. They think that there is no God and that the so-called religious feeling of devotion to God is but an opiate, a kind of illusion, like the illusions derived from LSD or opium. Hiranyakashipu did not believe Prahlad Maharaj when Prahlad asserted that his Lord is present everywhere. Because Hiranyakashipu, as a typical demon, was convinced that there is no God and that no one could protect Prahlad, he felt encouraged to kill his son. He challenged the idea that the devotee is always protected by the Supreme Lord. So Prabhupada here refers to Mr. Marx, the founder of the communism. He said the religion is the opium of mankind. Evam duruktair muhur ardayan rusha sutam maha bhagavatam mahasuraha kadgam pragyot patito varsanat stabham tata dati bala swamushtinam. Being obsessed with anger, Hiranyakashipu, who was very great in bodily strength, thus chastised his exalted devotee son Prahlad with harsh words. Cursing him again and again, Hiranyakashipu took up his sword, got up from his royal throne, and with great anger struck his fist against the column. Tadaiva tasmin ninando tibishano babuva inanda katadham aphutat yam vaisva dishnoyapa gatam tu ajadaya shutasva damatyam anga menire. Then from within the pillar came a fearful sound, which appeared to crack the covering of the universe. Oh my dear Yudhishthir, this sound reached even the abodes of the demigods like Lord Brahma. And when the demigods heard it, they thought, oh, now our planets are being destroyed. Purport. As we sometimes become very much afraid at the sound of a thunderbolt, perhaps thinking that our houses will be destroyed, The great demigods like Lord Brahma feared the thundering sounds that came from the pillar in front of Hiranyakashipu. Sa vikraman putra varis sura ojasa nishamya nihradam apurvam adbhutam anta shabayam na darsha tatpadam vitatra suryana surari utapam. While showing his extraordinary prowess, Hiranyakashipu, who desired to kill his own son, heard that wonderful tumultuous sound which had never before been heard. Upon hearing the sound, the other leaders of the demons were afraid. None of them could find the origin of that sound in the assembly. So now Lord Narasingha Dev is coming on the scene. Purport. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna explains himself by saying, Rasoham apsu konteya prabhasmi shashi surayo pranava sarvadedeshu shabdakhe paurasham nashu. O son of Kunti Arjuna, I am the taste of water, the light of the sun and the moon, the syllable Om in the Vedic mantras. I am the sound and ether and ability in men. Here the Lord exhibited his presence everywhere by the tumultuous sound in the sky, Shabdakhe. The tumultuous thundering sound was proof of the Lord's presence. The demons like Hiranyakashipu could now realize the supreme ruling power of the Lord, and thus Hiranyakashipu became afraid. However powerful a man may be, he always fears the sound of a thunderbolt. Similarly, Hiranyakashipu and all the demons who were his associates were extremely afraid because of the presence of the Supreme Lord in the form of sound, although they could not trace out the source of the sound. Very interesting. Everyone is afraid of the thunderbolt. If you get attacked on the street, you should have on your cell phone a sound of a thunderbolt, and everyone will run away. Satyam dihatum nija britya bhashitam vyaptim chabutishu akileshu chatmana adashyatatyat bhutarupam udvahan stabhe sabhayam na mrigam na manusham. To prove that the statement of his servant Prahlad Maharaj was substantial, in other words, to prove that the Supreme Lord is present everywhere, even within the pillar of an assembly hall, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Hari, exhibited a wonderful form never before seen. The form was neither that of a man nor that of a lion. Thus the Lord appeared in his wonderful form in the assembly hall. So the Lord is appearing now. Those of you who have stayed, you're very fortunate. Those who have left, what can I say? Purport. When Hiranyakashipu asked Prahlad Maharaj, "Where is your Lord? Is he present in this pillar?" Prahlad Maharaj fearlessly replied, "Yes, my Lord is present everywhere." Therefore, to convince Hiranyakashipu that the statement of Prahlad Maharaj was unmistakably true, the Lord appeared from the pillar. The Lord appeared as half lion and half man, so that Hiranyakashipu could not understand whether the great giant was a lion or a human being. To substantiate Prahlad's statement, the Lord proved that his devotee, as declared in Bhagavad Gita, is never vanquished. Konteya pratijanihi name bhakta pranashyati. Prahlad Maharaj's demonic father had repeatedly threatened to kill Prahlad, but Prahlad was confident that he could not be killed, since he was protected by the Supreme Lord. By appearing from the pillar, the Lord encouraged his devotee, saying in effect, "Don't worry, I am present here." By manifesting his form as Narasingha Deva, the Lord also preserved the truth of Lord Brahma's promise that Hiranyakashipu was not to be killed by any animal or any man. The Lord appeared in a form that could not be said to be fully a man or a lion. Sasatvam enam parito vipashyan Stabasyam madhyat anunirjihyanam Nayam mirgonapi naro vichitram Ahokim etan nirmrgindra rupam. While Hiranyakashipu looked all around to find the source of the sound, that wonderful form of the Lord, which could not be ascertained to be either a man or a lion, emerged from the pillar. In amazement, Hiranyakashipu wondered, what is this creature that is half man and half lion? Purport. A demon cannot calculate the unlimited potency of the Supreme Lord. As stated in the Vedas, Parasya Saktir Vividai Bashwati, Swabhaviki Jnana Balakriyacha. The different potencies of the Lord are always working as an automatic exhibition of His knowledge. For a demon, it is certainly wonderful that the form of a lion and the form of a man can be united, since a demon has no experience of the inconceivable power for which the Supreme Lord is called all-powerful. Demons cannot understand the omnipotence of the Lord. They simply compare the Lord to one of them. Avajananti mamudha manusim tanumashritam. Mudhas, rascals, think that Krishna is an ordinary human being who appears for the benefit of other human beings. Parambhavam ajananta. Fools, rascals and demons cannot realize the supreme potency of the Lord. But He can do anything and everything. Indeed, He can do whatever He likes. When Hiranyakashipu received benedictions from Lord Brahma, he thought that he was safe, since he received the benediction that he would not be killed either by an animal or by a human being. He never thought that an animal and human being would be combined so that demons like him would be puzzled by such a form. This is the meaning of the Supreme Personality of Godhead's omnipotence. Mimam samanasya samutito grato Nashimarupas tadalam bhayanakam Pratapta chamikara chandalochanam Spuratsata keshara jamvitananam Karaladam shtram karabala chanchala Shuranta jivam brukuti mukol badam Stabdordhva karnam kiri kandarbhutam Vyatasya nasam hainu bidapishanam Divis prasad kayam adhigrapi varam Kriviro vaksha stalam alpa madhyamam Chandram shu gauraish chauritam Tanuruhair vishvak bhojanika shatam nakayudam Durasadam sarva nijitara yudha Praveka nidravita daitya danavam. Hiranyakashipu studied the form of the Lord, trying to decide who the form of Nrsingadeva standing before him was. The Lord's form was extremely fearsome because of his angry eyes, which resembled molten gold, his shining mane, which expanded the dimensions of his fearful face, his deadly teeth, and his razor-sharp tongue, which moved about like a dueling sword. His ears were erect and motionless, and his nostrils and gaping mouth appeared like caves of a mountain. His jaws parted fearfully, and his entire body touched the sky. His neck was very short and thick, his chest broad, and his waist thin, and the hairs on his body were as white as the rays of the moon. His arms, which resembled flanks of soldiers, spread in all directions as he killed the demons, rogues, and atheists with his conch shell, disc, club, lotus, and other natural weapons. Prainamiyam harino rumaina vadasmatonena samudyatina kim evam brahvam stu abhyapatat gado yudho nadam nashimam prati daita kunjaraham. Hiranyakashipu murmured to himself, Lord Vishnu, who possesses great mystic power, has made this plan to kill me. But what is the use of such an attempt? Who can fight with me? Thinking like this, and taking up his club, Hiranyakashipu attacked the Lord like an elephant. Purport. In the jungle, there are sometimes fights between lions and elephants. Here the Lord appeared like a lion, and Hiranyakashipu, unafraid of the Lord, attacked him like an elephant. Generally, the elephant is defeated by the lion, and therefore the comparison in this verse is appropriate. Alakshitugnau patita patagamo yata nasham haujasi susura tada natad vichitram khalu sattva damani swatejas yo nu pura bitam tamaham. just as a small insect falls forcefully into a fire and the insignificant creature becomes invisible. When Hiranyakashipu attacked the Lord, who was full of effulgence, Hiranyakashipu became invisible. This is not at all astonishing, for the Lord is always situated in pure goodness. Formerly during creation, he entered the dark universe and illuminated it by a spiritual effulgence. Purport. The Lord is situated transcendently in pure goodness. The material world is generally controlled by tamagun, the quality of ignorance. But the spiritual world, because of the presence of the Lord and his effulgence, is free from all contamination by darkness, passion, or contaminated goodness. Although there is a tinge of goodness in this material world in terms of the Brahminical qualifications, such qualifications sometimes become invisible because of the strong prevalence of the modes of passion and ignorance. But because the Lord is always transcendently situated, the material modes of passion and ignorance cannot touch him. Whenever the Lord is present, there cannot be any darkness from the mode of ignorance. It is stated in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishna Surya Sama Mayahaya Andhakara Yahan Krishna Tahanahi Mayar Adhikar. Godhead is light, nescience is darkness. Where there is Godhead, there is no nescience. This material world is full of darkness and ignorance of spiritual life. But by Bhakti Yoga, this ignorance is dissipated. The Lord appeared because of the Bhakti Yoga exhibited by Prahlad Maharaj. And as soon as the Lord appeared, the influence of Hiranyakashipu's passion and ignorance was vanquished as the Lord's quality of pure goodness, or the Brahman effulgence, became prominent. In that prominent effulgence, Hiranyakashipu became invisible, or his influence became insignificant. An example illustrating how the darkness of the material world is vanquished is given in the Shastra. When Brahma was created from the lotus stem growing from the abdomen of Garbhodakashayi Vishnu, Lord Brahma saw everything to be dark. But when he received knowledge from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, everything became clear, as everything becomes clear when one comes from night to sunshine. The important point is that as long as we are in the material modes of nature, we're always in darkness. This darkness cannot be dissipated without the presence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, which is invoked by the practice of Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti Yoga creates a transcendental situation with no tinges of material contamination. So I will stop here. It is sort of coming to that time, no? What do you say?
It is almost dusk, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So we have questions and answers. If you Prabhus want to ask any questions, or Jyoti Mataji, if you want to ask any question, please go ahead. Any questions, Prabhus? This last portion especially is significant, that Lord Narasingha can dissipate the darkness. Everything in this material world is controlled by the gunas, by the modes of material nature. The mode of ignorance, that makes us lazy and sleepy. And there's mode of passion, we become very fruitive, ambitious. Mode of goodness, we try to practice spiritual life. Some sort of meditation or yoga, like that. So Krishna consciousness takes us on a transcendental platform. The purpose of Krishna consciousness is to transcend all these modes, even the mode of goodness. Prabhupada says it is contaminated goodness. So this hearing of the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is very, very beneficial, because simply the sound, we might not even understand the meaning. Simply if we somehow hear, especially Bhagavatam spoken by a pure devotee, Srila Prabhupada, it actually destroys the mode of ignorance and the mode of passion. One becomes less passionate and less ignorant. And his natural propensity to inquire about Krishna becomes more and more pronounced. So it is very beneficial to hear Srimad Bhagavatam. And in the beginning, it is not easy. We're not easy to just hear about God all the time. God. But slowly, if we, little try to practice, we take a little bit, slowly the mind becomes more and more pacified. And then we can go on hearing and without any difficulty. So we have 2 questions here on the live stream. Nace Prabhu is asking, how come that such a pure devotee was born into the family of a demon? And Ellen is also asking, or a demon in a devotee family. Is it possible? This is a good question. And Srila Prabhupada, actually in one of his early classes, when he started the movement in New York in the storefront, he was giving, I'm not sure if he was, he was giving a class on the Bhagavad Gita, but he mentioned this Leela of Hiranyakashipu and Prahlad Maharaj. And he said that sometimes a devotee can be born in a family of demons. And he was encouraging the Western devotees, his students, to take up Krishna consciousness. Because in Western countries, people are fully engaged in sinful activities. Meat eating, gambling, intoxication, illicit sex. This is considered to be normal. So it is not stereotyped that devotee must be born in a devotee family. That's why this idea of caste system that is so much prevalent, in India, this perverted idea of caste system, that if you are born in a Brahmin family, you're automatically a Brahmin. You don't have to have any qualification. It's by the virtue of your body, which we know we are not. Right? We're not that body. We're not Brahmana or like that by the body. Srila Prabhupada came to smash this idea of caste system. Actually, anyone and everyone can become a Brahmana, can become just like Prahlad Maharaj, if he is sincerely following the rules and regulations meant for Brahminical life. So he was explaining in this connection that it is not stereotype. You are born all in the family of Hiranyakashipus, but you can become Prahlad Maharajas. So, specifically in this instance, Prahlad Maharaj, why he appeared in that family of Hiranyakashipu, I do not know exactly. I don't know. That must be stated, maybe somewhere in the Puranas it is mentioned. Srila Prabhupada doesn't elaborate on this. But we know that Hiranyakashipu, as I explained before, was an associate of Krishna from Vaikuntha who fell down for the purpose, not like us, due to rebellion against Krishna, but for the purpose of giving Krishna pleasure in enacting this Leela of Hiranyakashipu. In the spiritual world, there are no demons. So the Lord cannot fight with anyone. If the Lord wants to fight, because he also wants to fight, just like sometimes a father wants to fight with his son. I remember with my father, we used to box. We would wrap the towels around the hands and we would do box with my dad when I was a small. So it is sort of like a pleasure. So similarly, the Lord, he wants to fight. But in the spiritual world, no one will fight the Lord. Everyone is very devoted. So that's why he comes here in this material world and he enacts this Leela. So PJ Prabhu is asking, when Hiranyakashipu was liberated back to Godhead, did he choose to come back as Jadai and Madai, Ravan, Bill Gates for Krishna's Leela? Bill Gates. Or did he fall down because of his lustful desire to load into those personalities? No, that was simply to enact the Leela. Hiranyakashipu is a Nitya Siddha, actually. This is just a play. It's not a demon out of rebellion, as I mentioned before. Okay, any other questions? All right. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Narasingha Bhagavan ki jai, Bhakta Prahlad ki jai, Nitai Gaura Premanandi. Hari 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 Bol.
Namo Vishnu Parai, Vishnu Parai Bodhiri, Srimad Bhaktivedanta Lives, Namaste Saraswati Devi Guruvani Nirchari, Nirvishi Shri Pachati Shri.
So we have a little kirtan, mini kirtan, or are you ready?
Sorry, I'm going to go now.
Well, we have prasadam now.
Uh,
We cooked a feast. You must take with us.
how long it's going to be? Because I work early in the mornings. So
What we could do is we can pack prasadam for you. You can take.
I don't want to trouble.
No, we want you to do that. This is the whole purpose while we cooked. So we want to give you prasadam.
Okay.
So you want to take it with you or you take with
I'll
us?
Stay. I'll stay.
You stay. Okay, wonderful. Jai. Okay, Prabhus, Hare Krishna. Thank you for watching. Narasingha Dev ki jai. Take a nice.
Can I help you?
Hare Krishna.
It's okay.